Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get to know Olivia Rodrigo a little bit
Let's
better.
just set the scene for everybody right now. When everyone gets to watch and listen to this, the album is out. But also, everyone should know it's a few days before it actually comes out. So we're in this weird kind of drywall between reality and fantasy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of feelings
in my body right now.
I was going to ask you how you feel. It's rare to be so close to the release of a record, knowing that it's inevitable. This thing you've lived with and loved that taught you so much about yourself is about to belong to everybody else. Are you ready to let it go?
I am. I have to be. But yeah, just even walking in here and hearing you play Magus for Brains on the speakers here, it's like, so I've like never seen multiple people listen to that song before. It's always been like, oh, I'm going to play it for a friend or whatever. And just like being in this room, it just takes on a life of its own in like such a beautiful way. And I think...
Isn't it a fantastic thing about music, man, is that it's this thing that like an artist creates for themselves primarily, or first of all, usually, I think the good stuff, isn't it? And then it gets released out into the world, and it belongs to the audience, doesn't it? To the listeners, and it means. Noel Gallagher said something fantastic about it. An interviewer once critiqued him about his lyrics, saying they were nonsense. The opening lines of Champagne Supernova, slowly walking down a hall faster than a cannonball. Where were you when we were getting high? And he was like, it's just nonsense, isn't it? You know, we're like, what is it? You know, why do you, why do you insist on, frequently putting nonsense in your songs? But Noel said, because it's not nonsense, it means something. Or let me get this right. I don't think Noel would tell him, what it meant to him. But he says, when 50,000 people are singing it back to you or along with you every night, he said, you're not telling me that it doesn't mean something to those people that are singing, and it means something different to every single one of them. Which is, I just think it's incredible, isn't it? It's magic, man. But the fact that she's just said about listening to it in that room, with Zane and a few other people and stuff, it's the room that you listen to music in, it changes how you absorb the music, doesn't it? The day you've had, the week you've had, the year you've had, the person you are at that moment in time, Like I listen to some of my favorite records. Do you ever do this? You listen to albums and then you love them, they become part of you. And then 5, 10, 15, 20 years pass and you've kind of forgotten about them a little bit, or you just, you've parked it away, and then you'll listen to it again, man. And it's a completely different experience, isn't it? It's the same experience, but it's different as well.
It's definitely scary, but super necessary. Yeah.
How mad did you drive yourself finishing it with Dan in the mixing room, trying to figure out the nuances?
Oh my God.
I know you're a detail person.
I know. I was kind of insane about it this time around. Just like little things that I'm sure nobody else in the world would ever pick up on, but like stupid mix master things. I don't know. I feel like the older that I get, the more I care about stuff like that. I think when I made Sour, I was so like, oh, if the lyrics are cool, I like it. And as
am I loud?
Yeah.
Am I loud in the mix?
Quieter. Can you hear what I'm saying?
Right,
that's all that I cared about. But it's been a fun process. I always just feel like every time I make a record, I'm like learning how to make a record as I go, and just the songs are the byproduct of my learning. You know what I mean? I feel like I'll never be like, I know exactly how to do this. I'm a perfect musician. Like
not.
It's all just that. Yeah, and it's what keeps it fun and exciting.
Man,
Every day is just a learning opportunity.
It's the death
These
of
songs
art,
are going to
man.
take you to new places. I mean, they just do.
To not have some kind
a
of
song like
fear
Stupid Song, which
going
is,
into it.
you're no stranger to a dynamic shift. You like to begin with just yourself and an instrument, finding something intimate to say something truthful, and then you'll end and will be a top of something with you. But I feel like this album, you really pushed yourself in a lot of ways in those dynamic shifts and really forced yourself to try to find new ways to reach what you mean.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a real compliment. Yeah, I love a song that has dynamics and grows and ebbs and flows. And I think especially with this album, which is sort of all about falling in love, I think falling in love is a really volatile feeling, and I wanted the music sonically to reflect
The first half is certainly about falling.
The first half, yeah. The second half is maybe about the
falling in love with
unraveling of that love.
Maybe?
Yeah, maybe. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, I mean, I think the feelings that I was experiencing while making this album were very up and down and high and low. And so I wanted to have songs that reflected that. And also I love that type of song. It's like the structure that I really enjoy. I love reaching like a big bridge and having some moment of catharsis. I just feel like that structure works well for me and is so fun for me to create.
It's got to come from somewhere. I think the first time we ever spoke,
man.
we were just talking before we started recording this conversation about how the first conversation we had was in quarantine. I think driver's license had like been out for 2 days. And we immediately dialed into taste, like straight away. You may or may not remember this. I very, very specifically remember talking about how your parents, really informed your music taste. You grew up in a house of...
I for a long time, I guess I was never that sure about Zane Lowe. Like, he always just seemed overly positive sometimes, and I guess you're not going to be negative. It's rude, I suppose, for a start, isn't it? But what I've come to realize is that he's a music fan. He's not just a music fan, but he is in the tradition, I suppose, of your John Peels or your Bob Harris or people or your what's that guy's name? Philip Seymour Hoffman played him in Lester Bangs. That these people that they study music, because they just love it, beyond anything else, So I love, he understands music, doesn't he? Like, yeah, he's a dude, man. He's a dude.
Of rock and roll, of hard rock, of emotional rock and roll, of dynamic shifts, the quiet bits, the loud bits.
Yeah.
Can you really trace your music back to those moments, those key childhood moments of hearing music when you could absorb it for the first time and it really moved you?
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, it's still, luckily, like, I feel like I still listen to albums for the first time these days and I'm like, what the hell? Oh my God, how have I not heard this? I feel like that love, that like childlike wonder.
Yeah, it's a great moment, isn't it?
Appetite for music hasn't gone away, luckily, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, when you're like 13 years old and you discover like Tapestry by Carole King for the first time, you're like, oh my God, and your life just was like in black and white before and now it's in color.
I've never listened to that one.
Beautiful, magical experience. And I think definitely my parents were a huge part of that for me. My parents are not very artistic or creative and they're the most wonderful, but they just love music so much. And even like going to concerts with them today, like yesterday, maybe like 3 days ago, I saw The Cure with my dad and we were just like holding each other, singing pictures of you. And I'm like, this is so beautiful. Like we're just like crying. Like that's just a thing in my family. We're very, very emotional when it comes to music. It's sort of our thing. So
they've been with you, obviously, not just in life. That goes without saying. Well, actually, sadly, it doesn't always go without saying, but luckily for us, it does.
Yeah.
But also they've been able to see you discover yourself through art, find an audience, find confidence through the love you receive in that way. How do you think it is for them being in a place like Primavera, watching you go on, surprise people, shut down the show like that? I mean, do you ever sort of see it through their eyes or do they ever explain to you how they feel about that without getting too personal?
Oh yeah, no, I think it's really, really special for them. But I've said this before and I really think that I attribute a lot of my happiness and like groundedness to them because like when I did SNL, they were like, this is the best night of our lives. But I also think like had I graduated community college, they would have felt the same way. You know what I mean? Like I really think they're just like proud of me as a person and see me as an individual and not for all of like the faff around me, which is just so wonderful. And I know
is that a family thing? I don't know. They're just like you have like it just reminds me of my nan. I guess we used to play football and, we'd lose every week. How did you get on? Oh, we lost 10-0. Oh, well done. It didn't matter what I did, it was just well done.
Context that not a lot of people are afforded sometimes in my position. And so to have that in my parents and my friends and people around me is just, it's just worth its weight in gold. I'm so grateful for it. So
there's this unconditional sense of pride and support that comes from a healthy family environment, which is beautiful. So where does this really determined work ethic come from?
I don't really know. I have been the hardest worker ever since I was a little kid. I have no idea what, even when it was like gymnastics, I'm like, I have to grind at this. Like, if I don't get my back handspring, I'm going to die. Like, just crazy. I don't know. I think sometimes I think you're just like born with it a little bit. Like, I've always been like that. I've always wanted to be the best version of myself and wanted to do something better and like bigger. But
in the way that it reflects on you, not in the way that it would reflect potentially on others in a more competitive way.
No, totally. And I think that's the most wonderful thing about music is you're only competing with yourself.
That's exactly what I was about to say, man. That's what it should be in life, really, right?
To some degree, it comes from the time that you would have just undeniably spent on your own being an only child.
Yeah.
Ultimately kind of growing up in your own
Okay.
company, even with friends down the road or whatever, you're going to spend time in your own company more than others do.
I know. I've been thinking a lot about that lately. I like, now I'm 23. I can like look back at my childhood with a little bit more perspective. And yeah, I spent so much of my childhood alone. I was homeschooled. I'm an only child. I was like a child actor, which is a very lonely way to grow up. And, and sometimes I'm like, oh, that's kind of sad. But also I think that's why I love music so much, is because in those like quiet, lonely moments growing up, music.
That's probably why I love music so much. I wasn't an only child, but
obviously I think so many kids feel that way. They just feel misunderstood.
It was the only thing that was consistently there for me. Fascinating. You talked about kind of
that's the Lester Bangs, like that's what Lester Bangs said. Well, the character did in Almost Famous, right? Whenever you're sad or lonely, just go to the record store and visit your friends. And that's what Zane said to them, man. It's that's what it is for people that love music, and I love music and you love music, right? You guys that are watching. It's music. When you're a real just fan of music, man, it's always there for you, isn't it? And I think that's that's certainly how I felt, I guess, growing up. It didn't really matter, what else was going on. That was the refuge,
Moving into show business at a young age, and I'm like, okay, only child, water sign. By the way,
are you a water sign?
No, I'm a Leo, dude.
Okay. That makes sense.
No, if you know me, I'm a full-blown Leo. But yeah, you're one of the key water signs. And there's an introversion that comes out in your music. So I think, to quote Little Sims, you might be an introvert. So it's just one of those great mysteries, isn't it? How somebody who on paper wouldn't be drawn into this kind of high pressure cameras, lights type environment finds yourself drawn to that. As you've matured, have you thought about the dichotomy there?
Yeah, I think I do a really good job at dissociating from it. I think it was a blessing that my first song, I mean, for many reasons, but like Driver's License coming out was obviously such a huge thing. And I had to deal with so much crazy public weirdness that like normal 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds don't have to deal with. And I think that taught me very early on in my career the importance of like separating Olivia that my friends and family know versus Olivia that everyone feels like they can have an opinion on.
Like a survival mechanism?
Totally. And I think that it's not even like, oh, woe is me. It's just like, I think you have to do that if you're going to be in this profession. Like, I think if you're just like,
Isn't there I saw something a few days ago, I think it was Cary Grant. Somebody said, somebody said to Cary Grant, everyone wishes there could be Cary Grant. And he said, yeah, so do I. Interesting, isn't it?
Always so open to feedback and like wondering what people are thinking about you. I just think it's just unsustainable. And so, I think I do a pretty good job of keeping those two people separate.
How does it affect your ability to open yourself up to new environments? And I ask this question in relation to the world you've built for yourself. You obviously move very deliberately with the people that you let into your life. You've been working with the same producer now the whole way through with Dan, right? So you like that entrusted environment. You like the space to be able to open up and not, like you say. And I know a lot of artists who are like, let me just experience everything and draw everybody in. That's not you, right? That's not how you are.
Yeah, I know. I love working with Dan so much. And obviously we made this record together. And I think that there's something just so invaluable about having someone whose tastes you trust, like implicitly.
Yeah.
And also someone who has seen you through many eras of your life and like knows how to get the best work out of you.
Which comes from trust.
Yeah, it comes from trust and comes from like love. I think
chemistry,
we like love each other so much. We're like family at this point. And
chemistry.
So, I just think that there's a specific chemistry there that is like kind of hard to recreate with someone who, I could have met 6 months ago.
Yeah, I feel that.
He's brilliant. I feel like
some people
incredibly lucky.
Get it with, don't you?
To be able to work with him. So.
You're brilliant together.
You don't have to
but
work
you never tried it. You never did the kind of what we call the speed date writing thing where you go into a room with someone for 8 hours and try to conjure up a song.
Yeah, I think I did maybe really early on in my career to no avail, but I feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I love him. So.
Yeah.
Look, you seem to be able to find new
interesting
ground to cover because this album, you're moving into all kinds of new sound design, sonic inspiration, sonic territory, and subject matter as well. It's all new. Every album needs to be new, what you've lived and what you've learned and what you put it through. When did you start to find the sound for the record? If you knew what you were saying, if it was an album that was driven by the idea of being unapologetically in love and going through what we all, if we're lucky enough, go through, which is the loss of that love or change of that love. When did the music start to show itself and say, you know, I can nurture these words?
I think like sonically, a song like Maggots for Brains was really informative and like illuminating. I kind of knew that I didn't want to go like power chord, rock and roll type of thing, which I think a lot of people maybe expected, but I kind of wanted to be softer and subtler. And I was like pulling a lot of references from like new wave bands and stuff like that, who were like rock in a sense, but not like, you know, punky like you would like maybe think. Like, but I remember making that song.
I love a lot of those bands,
like,
you know, Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet.
Discovery for me. And I love that song and the way it sounds, and it just makes me feel something really intensely.
There's something also about the way that kind of music, you talk about that new wave sound and particular things in the 80s, were able to take sad songs
New Romantics,
and make
maybe,
them weird and fun.
Yeah, totally.
Human League.
Which I think is a theme at times on this record. There's some very open-hearted songs on here, you know, less begging and such. But a lot of it is like dealing with some tough stuff, but in a way that's like, the synth is kind of quirky.
That's the dream. Yeah, say something sad, but say it in a weird way. I guess that's the thesis statement for all cool music.
The Smiths, Morrissey was great at that, right?
Talked about, or maybe one of the first times I spoke to you on the first album, you talked about writing songs on the floor and that you would just lie on the floor and just jot and write and your thoughts down and everything else. Has that changed? How did you find yourself writing these songs?
I mean, I think songs for me definitely always start from like a lyrical like seed of an idea. I think that's, you know, maintained as my like primary mode of writing. But
do you journal?
I do journal. I'm trying to do like Artist's Way, like 3 pages in the morning. Have you ever done that before? Like
I know all about it.
God.
Yeah.
I always try and then I fall off and but
I hate writing things down, man. I really struggle with it.
Yeah, I love to journal, and I just like have a notes app going on my phone all the time of just like random shit that I find interesting and compelling. So yeah, but every song is so different. I mean, it's so hard to be like, this is my process every time. It's just so different, and that's what keeps it fun and exciting and what keeps you coming back for more.
What's the first song what's the oldest song on the record?
I think Honeybee is the oldest song on the record. Honeybee or maybe My Way. But I remember writing Honeybee and feeling so excited because I think that was the challenge for me, like lyrically and as a songwriter, was like, how do I write a love song that feels like it matters to me? You know what I mean? I feel like I've written love songs in the past, but they feel a little bit juvenile, which is fine. I love juvenile love songs. It's like so cool. But
no, when you're a teenager,
to like write a song that like captured this sort of more mature, nuanced love that I was experiencing in my life, and that was a really tall order. I think it's really, really hard to do that. I think so many artists have been, you know, doing that for so many years, and it's hard to find like a new spin on it, obviously. And so
your spin is it's you, right?
Yeah.
That
it's personal.
That feeling that you have is unique to
we're
you.
All individuals, isn't it?
So what is it about the song that you
it's
love
all been
so
said
much
before,
that you
but not by you.
Your love story, not anybody else's.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. I think there's a fragility to that song that I really love. I think the lyric, like, I hope I never see what your face looks like going, a face I swear I could spend my whole life knowing. I remember writing that and being like, oh yeah, that is how it feels. You know what I mean? Because being with someone who you are attached to and adore in this way, it's like the most terrifying thing ever. You know, and I think I was at this point in my life where I was like, oh, I have all of this stuff and now I have something to lose, which is terrifying. That's like way scarier than like, oh my God, I lost something and I wish I had it back. It's like, no, I have it right now. I hope it doesn't go away. And there's something
to lose, man. Somebody to lose. Scary, man.
Just like tugs at your heartstrings, like thinking about love in terms
makes you level up that, right? Or it should.
Thanks
for watching. If you would like access to the full thing and loads of other extended content, Taylor Swift, One Direction, Miley Cyrus, videos of me playing my songs and others, link in description.